Here we have the 30-minute price chart for Broadcom Incorporated, stock ticker AVGO. Here we can see that the stock is trying to kind of reestablish its prior uptrend. We saw some prior declines and then a period of sideways consolidation here. But now it looks as though we're ready to start marching higher again. And we need to identify some potential price levels that can be used to outline some specific trading ideas. So overall, this is a stock with a bit of an unwieldy share price value, and that causes a lot of people to not be interested in it. But we're going to be looking at a stock split here in Broadcom relatively soon, and I do expect this stock to be on the radar for many, many more traders here going forward relatively soon. This is a very strongly positioned company with great exposure to the artificial intelligence space. Um, I think the name itself might be a little bit boring. Broadcom. I mean, it sounds kind of tech bubble 2000, kind of web 1.0 kind of a thing. Um, it doesn't sound, maybe the name itself doesn't sound as exciting, or it sounds kind of like a dinosaur or something like that. I don't really agree with that. I think that this is a stock that is going to be getting a lot more attention in the near future, just given its exposure to AI. And then we will have the fact that, a stock split is going to be making the stock itself much more accessible to a larger group of traders. So there's some price points here that we need. It is a good idea to start learning the trend here, because this is a stock that you might be trading in the near future if you're not currently trading it. So there are some price points here that we need to watch, because even though we are seeing moves higher, we do need to point out the fact that we're really moving into some fairly heavily overbought territory here. We're currently trading just below 87 in the relative strength index. That's this purple line here. And this does suggest that price movements might need to correct themselves, or at least consolidate. It doesn't necessarily mean that there needs to be a downside correction, but usually at the minimum, what you need to see in a situation like this is at least a period of sideways consolidation, so that this indicator reading can reset itself. But all of that said, it should be noted here that this is a very strong indicator reading. I mean, you have a very stable trend here in the stock's momentum. I mean, that's a pretty nice looking price movement here. What we can say, one thing that is a little bit worrisome here is the fact that we've already reached overbought territory, even though we have not tested the all-time highs. That's a bit of a concern here, because it does point to a bit of a bearish divergence condition. You'd like to see the all-time highs showing up as a higher reading in the relative strength index. That's not really occurring here. We're seeing prices that are a bit lower. Currently, we're looking at price values just below 1730, and the all-time highs come in at just above 1850. So there's a fair bit of distance here before we reach those all-time highs, and then you've got this fact that we're already reaching pretty high levels in the relative strength index. We're at roughly 87, so that's a very high reading. That only goes to 100, and the 90 level would be considered extremely overbought. Anything over 70 is considered overbought. Anything over 90 is considered extremely overbought. So this is one warning signal that traders are going to need to be watching here. This might be mitigated by the fact that this uptrend line is such a strong and stable looking line. It is possible sometimes for the indicator reading to remain overbought for an extended period of time. And it is possible for a company like Broadcom, where the outlook does remain positive. But this is a warning signal here, and it does suggest that if we start to see declines from here, it will not be a surprise. It will not be much of a surprise. So overall, what are we looking at here? We're looking at a broader uptrend price structure, a bullish price structure, which began. This would be the beginning of June, roughly June 3rd. Where price lows were trading in just above $1,300. As I just said, the price highs posted at just above $1,850. So this is a very strong price move in a very short period of time. In addition to that, you did have this upside price gap, which was large. I mean, that's a big price gap. In dollar values, it's pretty significant. We can see that the bottom of this price gap comes in at 1653, and then the The bottom of the price gap comes in just above 1,500. So, we're talking about $150 price gap. That's a large price gap. You don't see that type of thing very often. This was propelled higher by positive earnings. So at the very least, we have that working for us. We can say that, there is some justification for that type of price move. But at the same time, it is a bit of a concern because in many cases, you'll need to see that price gap filled before you can sort of resume the prior trend. Um, all of that said, the current price movement, it's undeniable that this stock is starting to move higher. We have broken resistance levels, which were found just below 1650. Here we have a fairly significant resistance zone that came in at roughly this level. And the momentum that's been seen from here has been strong. I mean, we do have a pretty nice looking reading in the momentum indicator. So this is a fairly strong price move. Um, as this happened, we also broke above all of the exponential moving averages. That's the series of 4 lines here. We've got the 20 period moving average is the yellow line, 50 period moving average is the orange line, purple is 100 period, and the blue line is 200 period exponential moving average. So this is significant because we've now broken above all of those. And really what this means is that these moving averages can now be expected to work as support going forward. Since we can see that prices are trading above these levels, and that these levels are rising, they're moving in the upward direction. What this really tells us is that we're likely to see support levels form at higher and higher levels. So overall, that does support the outlook because it does suggest that price declines from here are going to be more and more limited. They're going to be smaller than they were previously. So currently, to the downside, I would really be watching the 1650 level. If we were to break back below here, I would probably expect a period of sideways consolidation. Like we might get caught back in this trading range again because we're also seeing the moving averages rest in this area. So you might be caught in a bit of sideways trading activity if we did break back below 1650. But the way things currently stand, we are looking at a retest of these prior all-time highs above 1850. So we still have a bit of ways to get there, and I would not recommend buy positions while the relative strength index is trading near 90. I mean, it's just way too high. So even if you're bullish on the stock, I would exercise some caution here. I would like to see a bit of a downside pullback before getting long again. But overall, the upside target does remain firmly fixed at those all-time highs. And I do expect to see a retest of those highs relatively soon. So here's the current market outlook for Broadcom Incorporated, stock ticker AVGO.